Hey, Aid, and Forge, Tibor, and Rachel, and Barley Carpenter. Yeah, give me a second. Trying to do two things at one time. Okay, I think I fixed it. Y'all tell me if you can see the little money thing at the bottom or whatever. Super chat thing, yeah. Thank you, Z103. This is Mom. Put it on because what Sippy was talking about, the spent from the summer through the winter working on working the summer at Boy Scouts, only to have it all ripped away. Me and Rob were actually there working on stuff when they turned the country off. And um, country's been in sleep mode ever since. So, got the hat, got the clothes. So Chipper, Aaron, Rachel, Ungrateful. I say, hold on, let me go back up top, start this hello thing all over again. I was in the middle of something. We got AIDS number one in the room. Inward Forge and Woodcraft. Welcome aboard. Tibor, uh, Rachel Knight, the Burley Carpenter. That's a Tibor. Yeah, I already said Tibor. C103, Aaron Dennis, the Ungrateful Peasant. Chipper 66. Nope, didn't still kill this one. Aaron, Carol, and that's, if I miss somebody, my apologies. What you got, Wayne? Timex is not making the old camper series MacGyver watch under the new Mark One name. Timex is now making the old camper series MacGyver watch under the new MK1 name. So you can get a MacGyver watch. I need to go back and find that and watch the MacGyver series. I made MacGyver jokes and stuff, but when MacGyver was on the air, I was too busy doing stuff to actually watch it. I would like to get my hands on a wind-up watch. All right. And since we're talking old television, apparently, for all of you Trekkies out there, you're welcome to come and take my Trekkie card away. I did not realize that on the new Star Trek timeline, for the motion pictures or whatever, where Spock has a girlfriend and all that stuff. Anyway, I did not realize that Scotty was Shaun of the Dead. I just never made the connection. I'm embarrassed. Hello, Jeff Nody. Texas Sun. All of there's like 4 different timelines now. I can't even keep track of it. They've got the Star Trek Enterprise timeline is not the original. Supposedly is an alternate timeline to the Star Trek original series timeline, and then Discovery is a timeline that's an offshoot because of stuff that was going on in uh, the Enterprise timeline, and there are other timelines kicked off by the stuff that Voyager was supposedly messed up in, and what I don't even. He's saying Simon Pegg like I should know who that is. I don't know who Star is, and I don't know the star's name. I only know who they play. I literally have a really hard time keeping up with who plays what part. It's my thing. But anyways, do this before I forget about it. This came up. We were talking. This is the last thing we talked about last night on the stream or whatever. Were knives. Um, I've showed this off before. I mean, that's a sexy looking sheath, isn't it? Looks brand new, barely worn at all. Almost brand new. It's my first ever bushcraft knife. Yep, buck 105. It's still all the knife you'd need if you went out. Yes, sir. That's the original 105 before they changed the the profile of the blade. The new ones have a weird tip on them. Oh, okay. Hey, I mean, see, I should know that, but I mean, um, first time I went into the canyons to spend the night in a tent made out of bed sheets and um, clothesline rope. That was with me. Not a lot. NFW. Oh, really, dude? You know Scotty? Dude, I need a Star Trek. I need a, what do you call it? I need one of the insignias for um, the Federation. But not one that you buy. I need it from the people. I have absolutely no use for anything like that. I'm just Star Trek, Star Wars. Don't. If it's good science fiction, I like it. And Discovery actually started out pretty good. They blew that shit. The Enterprise started off pretty good. They blew that. Voyager. Oh, I actually like Voyager to a degree. It got really weird towards the end. You would think that far across the unknown galaxy they would be able to come up with their own villain. That's just a big giant taco. And she made it on the table?
Yes.
And
she laid down aluminum foil and then put it straight on the aluminum foil on the table.
And we didn't
and
get
just told the kids to go for it. She's like, I got so much leftovers. I said, you didn't invite me.
There's that. We could have done this over there. I got a laptop. I'd been sitting there. I'd have been eating nachos. Talking to y'all while I was eating nachos and drinking my kid's beer. But I like Deep Space Nine, but again, when about halfway through that, I was working all the time. So there's a decent chance. Dude, how do you say that first part of your name? You can like spell it out in phonics, dude. Look at the hat and the jeans, or the breeches and the deal. Spell it in phonics. Please.
He's already said it, but to keep an eye on because of what you're
doing. Yeah. I mean, I'm not ashamed of who I am. If you watched any of my videos, I have no shame. Well, maybe a little bit. Dave Illier. Is that like a foreign word for something bad? Or is that like your last name? Or something? I ain't shut up because sometime or another somebody's going to find out my last name. It sounds kind of funny too. So, if you can ever get anybody to pronounce it right, thus the S. So, I'll just call you Dave. No cussing, please. Oh. Oh, well, see, I'm not a very good Viking, because, well, my peoples was one of the peoples I used to beat up on. So, um, the, if you're European and you don't have Viking DNA, you're not European. There's, I think that's one of the reasons they were running around so much, is they were trying to find some place worth living, because their place was a bit rocky and rough. Y'all are just making fun of me, my inability to say his name. Okay, Wayne, be good. If you're American and you try to figure out where you're from and stuff, and you're like, "Oh, that's just my ancestry," you're part of the problem. Either you got dumped in the pot and melted. That's the problem where America messed up. Personal opinion is in the whole smelting pot deal. There's some metals that just won't alloy. I mean, you can get lead to go into certain things, and you can get copper to bond with certain things. But if there's too much copper, too much of this, or too much of, iron or whatever, the resulting stuff. So anyway, long story short, Americans should be an alloy, not, if you throw a whole bunch of different scrap metal in a deal and melt it. They have different melting points. They have different, there's so many different things about them and stuff. Some of them will come together and work real good, and some of them just want to drift apart and separate out. And then you don't have an alloy, you have two different alloys. You have to actually, if you want to come to America, if you want to be American, you actually have to change your metal. The end. You have to decide that you're going to be American. That used to work really well. Hey, Druffer. Well, I'm not. I'm not a native Texan. My family's from uh, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee area. Um, like literally up there, right where everything comes, like everything is together. I mean, I got family. I got roots in Georgia, roots in Alabama, and roots in Tennessee. But my family is a branch that was cut off. So, are you real right? Well, Grub, I didn't know that there was any racist beliefs discussed in here. Simple fact. You can't be You can't come to a culture and be part of the culture if you refuse to embrace the culture. Yeah. And I can't. I mean, everybody. Here we go with the racist stuff again.
I don't know if there's really any pure anythings
There's no.
anymore. Everybody's a freaking Times 57 anyway.
I mean, yeah. Even and don't get mad at me, Abe. But if you look at the history of England and stuff, I mean, there's well, they all came across the channel. Let's put it that way. Nobody evolved on England. And that, Aaron, that should be enough for anybody, just being part of the human race. You know, the last time I checked, any given race, last time I checked, uh, Latinos could have children with Asians or Anglos or whatever, and the kids come out perfectly fine. I mean, it's not like we're not different. We're all the same thing. Yes, Aid. Now, all my grandkids are in my younger sister's native Texas. Uh, my Me and my sister just older than me, are the only two that weren't born in this state. I just realized that. Wow. Yeah, because conquerors conquered England, and England continued to conquer. It was just as, I mean, and see, that's why I don't want Texas to secede, because if they secede, then I got to move out, because I'm like, not, I wasn't born here, so I couldn't be a citizen or something. I'd have to work for my citizenship papers or something. Hey, South Florida. I don't know how it's all going to pan out, but it's not going to pan out good. I don't think. What's everybody planning on putting in their garden this year? Nah, Chipper, I wouldn't, because I'd vote against the secession. I'm an American. I want to save my country.
It's already written in our rules. We can't succeed anyway.
We could debate that all day long, but I don't want to get into it. I can see. I think we need more individual states' rights, but this is I'm not. Anyway, what are we planting in our garden? Um, Politics gives me a headache. How big a garden? What's your square footage on your garden, Drawfire? And you live up there really close to Carol. You been getting any rain? She's got a little bit, not much. I'm actually thinking about trying to do some raised beds or some. I got to figure out some way to do it to where the um, freaking gophers don't clean me out this year. Yeah, what Mrs. S said. The gopher. I did a walk around this morning. Well, I tried to take a video of the wind. I did a sound check on my microphone um, to see if it could take the wind. If it took the wind today, it'll be able to handle anything. Anyway, I need more cats or something. We're like surrounded. The gophers are in under the all the ryegrass and stuff. They're killing it out like crazy. Not gonna have anything. Yeah, the wind was brutal today. It was crazy. I mean, it literally. What about 6 o'clock though? It just said, okay, that's enough.
It started last night.
Yeah, it blew for it blew for 24 hours, didn't it? I need to find somebody with a jackrabbit problem. Well, the wind started blowing here last night right about sundown, and then it blew until sundown today. What were the C-103? What were those peas you were talking about? The purple hulls? What was the other name for them? Well, I see. Yeah, the wind hit y'all earlier than us, which I mean that's fine by me. I have planted grapes 3 times. I have no grapes to show for them. And I was actually planning on doing a gorilla garden out back this year. Hey, Bitty Boo. See, we always called purple holes black-eyed peas, but they're not. We had to put up a fence to keep the critters out of the garden, and it's made the garden really hard to keep weeded because. Well, that's fine, Bitty Boo. We're not really talking about anything. Yeah, they're not black-eyed. They're called them purple hulls, but called them something else too. Did I miss his comment? Purple hulls, field peas. Yeah, see, they're not the what we call black-eyed peas here are called cow. Everybody calls cow peas. Um, and I looked them up. I couldn't find any in the store. What's a gorilla garden? That's where you plant little monkeys and they turn into gorillas. Uh, you go pick an open place somewhere where you don't do anything other than you just plant the stuff and hope for the best. You plant stuff that can stand alone, that you're not going to have to water and this, that, and everything else. You plant it and then you just remember where it is and you go back and you get the stuff and hope the wildlife hasn't destroyed it and stuff. That's just a gorilla garden. Good night, Texas son.
Yes, but see, you need to come over here and you can help Wes with the gophers.
Yeah, yeah. Come on over here and I will give you a box of ammo, a rifle, and a chair. And all you have to do is sit there and shoot every one of them little bastards that sticks his head up. That's all you got to do.
Watch your mouth.
Well, what did I say? Whack a jackrabbit. Yeah. We used to have a bunch of jackrabbits and the drought killed them out.
We used to have a lot of cottontails, and sister's dog took them out.
Took them out, yeah. They're starting to come back in here and there. I actually thought about going hunting one. I haven't had rabbit in so long. Crowder peas, that's the one. Crowder peas. And I found those. I just can't find seeds for them. Well, see, you can put up a low fence around them if you don't have, like, we don't have deer here. So if I was serious about it, I would literally fence it off. But I don't think it would happen here because I mean the gophers are insane. Uh, all the gophers that were living in the fields around are have been pushed up into this little piece of pasture because they haven't planted anything they didn't plant anything last year. So here or there, none of the fields around's got anything. So if the gophers want anything to eat, they've got to come to the pasture. And I'm surrounded by pasture, so and they'll draw to wherever you water. So by watering the garden, we've drawn in the gophers. Who's asking? I haven't seen a single jackrabbit when I was in. I have not. I saw no jackrabbits in Oklahoma. Uh, we used to be covered up with jackrabbits here, man. Real right is Billy, truth be told. I believe. So, Burley Carpenter, did you tell us what you was planting in your garden? Can't remember. Guerrilla garden is just a way to have. It's like a food cache that grows itself. Um, like, let's say you know a place where grapes could do good on their own, but there's no grapes growing there. So you go plant a few grapevines there, and then you know where there's wild grapevines. Uh, you know a secluded spot where if you put in a couple of 3 apple trees, there would be apples there. It's Papua New Guinea. That's they have. That's their existence is guerrilla gardens. They go around and they plant gardens all over the place, and then they just they guard them from each other. Well, I'm gonna try, and I don't know. I know how to start to get my slips for the sweet potatoes, but I'm not. I haven't. I don't know if it'll work the same way for the yams, which are 2 different tubers. A sweet potato is a sweet potato, okay, and a yam is a yam. I got some. I have a white meated yam in there, but I don't know if you start the slips for it the same way you do the sweet potato. I've got to Google that. I've got to figure out how to get it to start um, making. I want to do butternut squash this year. You're just a squashaholic. I do too. Um, I really, I want to do. What's the one that looks like a flying saucer? Acorn, not acorn. Um, anyway, I love that stuff. If when you're making fried squash or whatever, like the fried zucchini or whatever, you do this, but you wind up with pancake sized squash. It's really good. I don't know what a candy rooster is. Now, spaghetti squash, I don't know. It just never took off. We tried to plant it, but it just wouldn't grow. The spaghetti squash we planted last year. The acorn squash was doing really good, and then boom, mega heat. The end. The last summer just destroyed our garden, and we just had all kinds of fun with it. Yeah, we actually did a test. I know probably not the best thing in the world, best idea in the world, but we took a butternut squash and a acorn squash and just set, put them on the counter, and left the acorn squash or the butternut squash and the spaghetti squash for 6 months. Some of the seeds in the spaghetti squash sprouted, so we were afraid of it. But the butternut was fine. So, okay, diggers, what are you putting in your garden? And see, the thing about the slips on the sweet potatoes, if you can get them up to a decent size with decent root balls on them before you put them out, they start more aggressively, and that's important here. Because of the heat, I've got to actually get the garden in the ground way earlier this year than last year. And then I've got to be ready to go out there and literally build little hot houses over them if there's bad weather coming in. Because I can get away with putting stuff out middle of next month. If I'm aware that there's going to be cold nights and that I've got to cover the plants in clear plastic. So, and yeah, there's ways you can do stuff. You can put in hoop houses and this, that, and everything else, but those cost a lot of money. And if you're spending more money growing your vegetables than you can go to the store and buy them for, it's not cost effective. Self-sufficiency has to be cost effective. The end. Granted, if you've got, there's certain things that if you can get it done. I've lost my back scratcher. I have an itch driving me nuts and it's making it really hard to concentrate. I've got all this stuff up here from all the little things I piddle around with right here at this area. So, in case you're wondering why I can't find my back scratcher. Oh, that's it right there. Oh yeah. We started asparagus and we thought it had died and then it came back. Rachel leaving? Okay, Rachel. Bye, Lance. This thing is annoying me. Yeah, the asparagus might. Oh, that's not. Should have done that. I'm hoping our garlic makes it. I kind of forgot to water it, but it's been getting enough volunteer moisture lately. I hope it's not done for. Hey, Will. The see, like I want to do the raised beds and stuff, but actually just set them on the ground. But the screen that you have to put down to keep the gophers from eating the roots or whatever, that stuff's expensive. The what's it called? Hardware cloth. That stuff is steep. And you can use the little bitty chicken wire, but it's not that cheap either. And the young gophers, they can get through it. So it was either Tractor Supply or Walmart where I got my asparagus. I can't remember. Congratulations, Billy. I don't have enough. I have a little bit of the hardware cloth, but not enough to make enough boxes to feed my family. How do you keep radishes from going bad? Like as soon as you pick them, does anybody know the answer to that? I grew a butt ton of radishes and I picked them, and then 2 days later they were all garbage. See, you need to make you a big garden and put up a whole bunch of little one room cabins and stuff, and then you can have what do you call it, a community. But like you gotta like pick them and pickle them the same day. I mean, I'm serious. I don't know. That was the first time I'd ever. And it really amazed me at how fast they wilted and went from these beautiful little bulbs of goodness to a shriveled up thing. I mean, I've seen radishes that you could buy in the produce section, and they look fine. Maybe it's you got to keep them cool and wet, and not let them get hot. The the radishes, as soon as I picked the radishes, the the leaves wilted, and the the radish dried up. I mean, like 3 days they were garbage. What were those seeds? Those 1 carrots that we saw that they looked more like radishes than carrots. Might try some of those. Those just look funny. They been out of shape. Oh, okay. Well, they were cold weather deals. The reason I'm asking is because I could actually put the radishes out pretty quick because they grow in the cold. Man, that explains it. I need to already have the spinach out if I'm going to grow spinach this year too. The spinach don't give a crap about the cold. It's weird. Spinach don't like the heat for nothing. Potatoes don't like the heat, but they don't like it to freeze either. I mean, I can grow potatoes here if I can keep the flipping gophers out of them. Not one year have I never not made a return on my potatoes, except for last year. But I guess the thing to do for the radishes would be to go ahead and pick them, wash them, and can them. I guess. I guess you don't can them. I guess you pickle them.
I love pickles, but why does everything gotta be pickled? Just food doesn't. It just sounds wrong.
What, pickling radishes?
Pickling anything besides a cucumber just is wrong.
Well, pickled okra
Well, yeah.
and what else can you pickle?
Pickled okra and pickles. That's it.
You can pickle eggs.
No, that's just wrong.
You can pickle pig's feet.
No, that's definitely wrong.
They pickle frogs and then they make you cut them up at school. And man, on the eggs, you're just as well off just doing the water bath thing or whatever. Yeah, I don't know, maybe we should eat beets, but we don't. Neither one of us like beets, so pickled fish. What's a daikon radish? Whatever. I mean, I like cooking. I just don't know anything about radishes.
Try to come up with stuff to gross me out.
I don't try to come up with stuff to gross you out. I mean, I didn't invent pickled pig's feet. I didn't invent pickled eggs, which I like pickled eggs. Um, mm, I like pickled okra too, but that stuff. A tater carrot looking thing. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to buy some more radish seeds. I used all the ones last year. And I just put and I'll use the same deals for the radishes this year. I literally just put dirt in some of my compost out of my black plastic uh, composting, and where I took the chicken poo and the wood shavings and rolled them up and kept them wet through the winter or whatever. I just shoveled that into the deal, and put the seeds in there and watered them, and they grew radishes like crazy. So I'll probably put the radishes back in there again because they grow really fast. So I'll be able to do more than one crop of radishes, I think. Hey, man. I don't know. I need to finish. I need to get in there and do the um, uh, carp that I have. I'm doing the pressure can some carp. I figure if my fellow Americans from uh, with more pigment than me can do it, I can. Used to just be easy. I would just take my carp to uh, Bill, and Bill would pressure cook them, and then he would bring me already made carp patties. It was just easier that way. I got to do the fun stuff, and he did all the work. Uh, but he didn't mind because he could take those carp to his wife, and his wife was just tickled pink about them. I Every time I take him fish, though, I take him probably 30 or 40 pounds worth of meat. Because that river that runs from Lubbock to Buffalo Springs Lake, that thing is so full of carp, it's not even funny. But I don't have access to it anymore. If you like salmon, you'll like carp. They taste almost exactly the same. People are like, oh man, carp's nasty. Carp is bony. Doesn't taste bad. It's bony. You can't just whack the meat off the bone and eat it. So people are like, oh, I'm not going to mess with that. That's too much work. And I would rather have carp patties, which is mostly cornbread and seasoning with a little bit of fish mixed in. There's not a whole lot of fish in fish patties, by the way. It's a way to take one fish and feed the whole house. Ow. Chinese cabbage is cold weather, and it takes a lot of water. I think. I looked into it. Well, then you don't like fish, Biddy. You're one of those people that probably like you have a fish fillet, and then you have a big salad bowl full of tartar sauce. Night, Jeff. Um, that's true. Hey, uh, there won't be any carp left. All those people complaining about having to eat, figure out something to do with those big-headed carp in the Mississippi and Ohio rivers and all that. They'll be like, "Ooh, let's go see if we can spook some of those into the boat." Smoked salmon is good, like that. But was I right about the tartar sauce? Catfish is one of the mildest fishes there are out there. It literally catfish hardly has any fish flavor to it at all. It's good. I love catfish. but it doesn't have a fish flavor. And I actually love fish. I like the I like the taste of fish. I'll open a can of pink salmon and I'll eat it right out of the can. I would say so, Ben. Um, it's a buffalo or native, but the big head aren't. The big head and the Asian carp aren't native. I don't know if I've ever had whitefish. I've heard of it. Hey, Kilder. Uh, and see, like gar, people don't want to eat that for whatever reason, and it's probably got a better diet to it than just about anything else. It's um, my favorite fish is drum, um, regular freshwater drum, black drum. I It's so oily. It's absolutely delicious. The texture, it's got a chewy texture to it. It doesn't have a light, flaky, whatever. You can tell that animal works for a living. It doesn't lay around and wait for its food. It goes and looks for it. But that's one of the reasons it's such a clean fish. Drum is a really clean fish. Bent, you better not be messing with me because I'll take a case of salmon. Yeah, it's in the drop down of this video. If you check the description, it'll be in there. You just have to scroll down to the bottom of the description. I think it's the last thing I put in there. Oh, I like squid and octopus if they remember to take the yuckies out of the head part. Um, I cannot convince the missus to try crawdad, and I'll eat those things all day long. All right, Ben, I'll be watching for it. Actually, I mean, bass isn't bad, but it's really kind of bland. But I'm not a catch and release kind of guy. If I go bass fishing, thank you. Um, it works great until I go outside in the wind and then I lose it. So, um, this is true. Uh, oh man, I mean, I've never had squid any other way than fried, so I don't know if I would like it grilled or whatever. That's another question. I mean, fish, grilled or fried? Um, I had was it amberjack or whatever? That was oh, I thought it tasted weird. I mean, it was edible, but I like orange snapper. or not red snapper, red snapper. My wife likes orange roughy, which we can no longer get in our area. So yeah, grilled anytime. Well, I like to smoke my fish too, but even when I fry my fish, I don't batter it. I just fry it. I don't have to have cornmeal or flour or anything on my fish. And if I'm going to fry my fish, I actually prefer it in in flour rather than cornmeal. Well, yeah, if you got the really big ones, I actually let like the flatheads and stuff. I just let them go. I don't think they're worth eating, honestly. Um, Now, channel cat up to about 5 or 6 pounds. That's good eating. Well, take that back up to 10 pounds if it's a river fish. It depends on the fish's environment too. Uh, river fish, river fish tastes better than lake fish. The end. Uh, Most of your farm fed fish, that stuff doesn't taste like anything to me. It tastes like dog food because it feed it dog food. And I like grilled tilapia. Um, but I don't order it and eat it very much. We can't. There's no place to fish for tilapia around here. So if you want it, you gotta be buy it at the store or whatever. And I don't eat very much of it because my wife honestly doesn't. She can't. She does not like the smell of cooking fish. So almost as bad as deer. Tilapia is just the fish eat stuff in the water, turn stuff in water into meat. Then you eat fish. Fish is fish. Um, hey, Walter Davis, haven't seen you around in like a day. What kind of fish do you like, Walter? I know you're up there in fish land. Okay, Biddy, if you're gonna like go live after a while, let me know and I'll stay up. Well, that's true, but the tilapia here, you know, it's a tilapia. Yeah, but we've got there's several places that tilapia got out and you can catch them wild. They're just not here. Um, I would actually keep them if I had a stock tank. I would have tilapia in it, tilapia and catfish. Woman, he called you woman. His spell check got him too. That's funny. Everybody's having fun with a spell check or whatever tonight. Uman should change his. He should check the. He should put an A in front of that. A Uman. Sorry, that's so yesterday. We're not making fun of that anymore. I know. I know. I know. I know. I know. Any fish, salt or freshwater. I grew up eating everything. I'm not. If there's any whatever's in here, if y'all want to do the thing, the link Biddy's channel. I don't want. I don't have the PC won't handle it. Umane. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna run and get a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. Man, you got me thinking about nachos, man. Back. That's my last cup of coffee for the night, folks. I had me one of them there headaches again last night. Doing that again. Yeah, there you go, Walter. I miss Florida in the fact that where I was at down there, the blue crab would come up into the canals and stuff, and we could actually go crabbing. Jump in the John boat and just crab right off of the boat. Kind of cheated a little bit. You go catch some perch or whatever, and then suspend the basket, and the crabs would come up, and you could watch them. And when there was crabs getting your perch, you just lifted the basket into the John boat, and then you had crabs walking all over the place. Then you just measured them, and the ones that were too small, you put them out. Not 100% sure. What he's calling bluefish and what I call bluefish are probably two different things. The blues that I fished for were in the Gulf, and I don't know what he's fishing for. Everybody else just used them for bait or whatever. I was like, looks like fish to me. Dad, see, I'm in there in the bluefish, and what's the other one? Hardtail or something like that. Well, you can chum those things up, and they'll go. You can catch those like crazy. They're easy to catch. Just, But I mean, we may have been making names up for fish out there on them platforms. I don't know. If I played the lotto and I won a big lottery, been like $300 million or some junk like that. One of the first things I would try to do is purchase an abandoned offshore rig. Because reasons. Yeah, Tibor, that's the one. If seriously though, I mean, if I became independently wealthy, I would probably look for 3 pieces of property, and all of them would be around 100 acres, and I would just bounce from property to property to property the rest of my life. I wouldn't want to have to weather another hurricane out there in the Gulf, but the idea of being able to and it's weird, like people, oh, you can just ride your boat out there or whatever. You can't tie your boat to the platform, 80% of the time. You're like, well, the wind's not blowing. Yeah, but uh you can sit there, you're standing on the bottom in 10, which is the bottom plus 10 feet. And you're watching the water go from 5 feet from your feet to 10 feet, 12 feet, and then coming back up just real slow. The water is literally, you're looking out across the water and it looks flat, but it's not. It's just rolling the whole time. So try tying your boat to the platform and you're just going to wind up with a shredded boat. Now, if you could afford to pay somebody to live out there and you could show up on your boat and then you could get them to pick it up with a crane or something, that would be cool. But I don't want to pay anybody to live out there and have all the fun. Yeah, I haven't been able to find any crawfish in any of the creeks around here. Yeah, crayfish up north have a bad reputation. I don't understand that. If they're done right, I mean, they taste just like a lobster, for crying out loud. And when I do, I'm never going to put the hot sauce in the crawdad skin. Just I mean, they're good, but they're better just with salt. Just a little bit of salt. That's it. That's all you need. Ash will do that, Ben. Well, the only time I'll do the heads is if they're done right. You have to you put fresh water. You have to have a crawdad tank, which can be a wash tub or uh, a tote or whatever. Put fresh water in there. You take all your crawdads and you put them in there and you starve them for 24 hours. They don't have anything to eat. All they can do is drink. And all the yucky stuff is gone. And then you cook them. Oh, that sucks. Well, that's like, I mean, I love strawberries. Just can't have them. A little garlic wouldn't hurt anything. But if you put just, like you got a gallon of boiling water and you put a tablespoon of salt in it, and then you put your 2 dozen crawdads in there, and then you take them out and you eat them straight. Nothing else. Just crawdad. It's like, it's heaven. Ooh, fresh grilled salmon is delicious. Grilled anything. I my preferred way of cooking any fish is to build a fire, stick the fish over the fire. The end. No, catfish I like to fry in bacon grease. Not gonna lie. And you can improve the taste of bass by frying it in bacon grease also. Well, that's rough. You see, we have some freshwater crabs around here, but you have to have a lot of crabs to have a meal. They're about the size of a quarter.
Right, Ben?
Pretty much, yeah. It's safer that way, that's for sure. Maybe that's why she encourages me going and out and doing wilderness cooking and stuff like that, because that way I can get all that stinky food out of my system. All I did was cook me a freaking steak the other day, for crying out loud, and I thought she was going to throw me out forever. Um, she really doesn't like the smell of venison, folks. She is not playing. And it's weird. She'll eat anything else. Well, I think she would. I hadn't tried to make her eat a rat yet. Um, I did get you to take a nibble of the squirrel, didn't I?
I tried to.
Yeah. I mean, she doesn't just say, no, I'm not going. Well, hold on. Hold on. She refuses to even try crayfish. So, with that disclaimer out of the way, she is willing to try the food. She just doesn't automatically say, that's disgusting, I'm not going to eat it. She's tried venison several different ways. She literally does not. She says she would eat it if she was starving, but she can't, for the life of her, figure out why anybody would volunteer to eat it on purpose. What's that, Tibor?
Freshwater mussels, I think.
Oh yeah. And see, I want to go back to San Antonio, but I want to take my big canoe. Actually, what I want a real freaking kayak. Um, the I learned that canoes, when they get in a bind, they take on water. Kayaks don't do that. So crawdads are very tasty. Lobster's very tasty. I will never catch a wild lobster because, well, I'm not going to go that far out in the ocean. Well, I guess, if I had a boat, I guess I could trap them or something like that. Hey, you kill deer. I haven't priced them, but they have some new kayaks down at the Tractor Supply. Um, I mean, that little canoe I got, it's great and all that, but man, catching the top of them rocks with the bottom of the canoe and falling out of it in the river, that just sucks. Um, in my big fiberglass canoe, my blue one, that thing is, well, there's just no way. I cannot lift the thing by myself. I can get it on a truck by myself. I can get it off a truck and I can drag it to the lake by myself. I can take it to the lake. There's no way I'm getting that thing in the river. So, um, I've actually thought about trying to get an aluminum, but if I'm going to do all that, I'm just going to get me a 10.5 foot, 11 foot kayak. Just do it that way. The Vanessa, I can move it around and I could put it on a trailer, but I would still have to move it the 60 yards from where you can get your vehicle down the bank and then on about a 10-foot drop to the river to where you can launch the canoe. And then it's literally an 8-hour paddle to anywhere where you can take it back out if the water gets a hold of you and hauls you off. I'm waiting for the comment to come up. I can get a canoe dolly for it, but I couldn't use the canoe dolly to get it to where I was going. I have disabilities. See, I got a 16-foot. I forget the name make of it, but it's fiberglass, and fiberglass is heavy. I mean, it does really good in the lake, but will you read me that comment, baby? Because I'm not, it's not coming up on my feed.
Oh, Bent had said I'm looking for a pedal drive.
Oh yeah, that's the kayak's it's a type of kayak. You just sit in it and you can work your feet, and it's got flippers on the back end. Yeah, and that's see the aluminum. Yeah, I can get an aluminum down here that I can carry around, but the beauty about the set on kayak is they float upside down, right side up. So I think I'm going to make some modifications to my little canoe. Um, just bolt-ons though. I'm not going to like actually change the canoe, but where I drug the bottom off of that canoe in two places in that 8 hour river trip. I had to put duct tape on it to get it the rest of the way in because I, got a pretty decent leak in the bow. Yeah, any canoe or kayak can flip, but um, when you're in a river and one side of your canoe is on a rock and the other side is on the downside of the rock, and the edge of your canoe goes into the water, it doesn't pop back up. You just look and you're like, well, that's the end of that. I would be dragging it. I'd be out of the boat dragging it all the time. The rivers here, most of the time, they're only about a foot and a half deep. I mean, there's a channel if you can find it, but that's, um, like I said, I have something I can take to the lake. I'm looking for something I can do in the rivers. And you're not going to paddle a John boat. Well, put it this way, there was more than one John boat stuck in tree jams on the river while we were taking our kayak trip. They get in a bind all the time. Not doing that. Yeah, but that's the other thing. I don't want to be inside of the canoe in one of those rubber covers or whatever when it does flip over, because then I'm not going to be able to step out. So it's, it all depends on your area. There's, this is not Oklahoma or Pennsylvania, Michigan. This is Texas. I know one river down here that runs all the way from the Panhandle to the Gulf of Mexico. It runs underground for miles. You can pick any one of those sandbars and get a shovel and dig down 2 feet and then wait, and it gets a foot and a half of water in it. The river's running the whole time. You never see the water. But then you go 3 miles down the sandbars, and the next thing you know, there's 2 or 3 foot of water, 10 foot wide, just hauling back. It's the nature of rivers in the desert, or the southern plains of the U.S. Well, that Kilder, my canoe's only 8 foot long, the one that I'm talking about. I can't get my big canoe in the river. It would take 2 adult males to manhandle that canoe down to the river. The canoe weighs 300 pounds. It's insanely heavy. Yeah, think T4? Found that out there. I thought I knew how to handle one. I doubt. 5 times. 5 times I wound up not in my canoe in 8 hours. I spent more time wet than I did dry. But I'm going to put before I go again, there will be those the noodles or whatever. There will be noodles on the sides of the canoe. So when it tips, it hits the noodle, and the noodle will stop it from wanting to go over. And we'll try it again. But I'm never going to spend. I will not spend another 8 hours in a canoe. Well, 6 hours, because towards the end of it, I started paddling hard. I had to get out of the water. The start of the trip, I was on a 2 on my pain level, and by the time I got out of that river and got my canoe back up out of the river, I was on a solid 7 or 8. I would paddle for 15 minutes and get out, find a sandbar, gravel bar, and get out and have to walk for 5 or 10 minutes just so I could stand to sit back down in the boat to go. And didn't get any of that on film. The first 2 hours were actually a really enjoyable thing. Was sitting upright with my legs straight out in front of me, like this, is excruciatingly painful for me after a little bit. I actually had a chair in it, which made me topsy. I don't have the chair anymore. Bob gave me a new chair, which I've got to rig up for it. But before I put that back in the water, it will have outriggers on it. So I can be in the water with my, where I can bend my legs. I was doing great until I lost my chair. Killed her. But after I lost my chair and had to sit there with my legs straight, it doesn't take, 20 minutes to put me, because my lower back, I'm bone on bone on two of my vertebrae. And I just can't, I can't sit bent like that. So it puts a lot of pressure on my sciatic nerve going down the left side of my body. And it literally feels like somebody has a branding iron shoved the length of my thigh bone down my leg, and it hurts. Just use the inner tube. Yeah. But anyway, you can either let the problems you have dictate what you do in your life, or you can tell your disabilities to go fly a kite. That's what I choose. I have no desire to uh, surrender to the difficulties that life has thrown at me. None. Zero. Sometimes it's hard, but I still refuse to give it. Good night, Ben. Oh, there's an Old Spice. And I was like, who's Walter talking to? Hey, Old Spice. There you go. I don't have to pick up my grandkid anymore. I mean, one of them, a couple of them I do, but the other one, he just walks up to me and gives me a hug. He's huge. He was driving a while ago. Oh, dropped my bloody phone. Yeah, my wife's got him by a half an inch. But he's 13. He was such a little guy. That's bubble gum. I do not want to float on a river that could freeze me to death. The San Antonio River is not cold. What flavor that is supposed to be, but it's so disgusting. I think so. I've quit trying to spit them out, though. I think maybe that's the one that's supposed to be buttered popcorn. Yeah. I'm going to go back to buying the bags that have the specific flavors in them, and where you can just buy a whole bag of Dr. Pepper. Now, don't get me wrong, I like tubing. But which river is that you can go and tube south of it? Is it the Pecos? Not the Pecos. It's a really slow river. You basically just get in it and get a sunburn. I like that stuff. And see, yeah, Walter, that's I would actually like to have and my son got one. They got a duck boat. We just need to get the paperwork worked out on it, so we can get it registered or whatever. It's a little 2-man boat, but what I'd like to have is a 16-foot flat bottom, and I wouldn't even bother with an outboard. Literally, I would you put 2D cycles, deep cycle batteries, and you just run a heavy thrust trolling motor. I mean, even we had a 9-horse motor on that John boat that he had, then we were still only getting 7 miles an hour. With trolling motor, we were getting 6. So, we're not, and we'd never run out of battery. So, what happened to Allspice? Oh, yeah, I hope you get better, Allspice. Anyway, that's about it. We talked about gardening and boating and everything. I can pick my little 8-foot canoe up and walk all over the place with it. That's what I got it for. Um, Ow. That doesn't sound comfortable at all, Vanessa. Yeah, I think I'll stick to what I got going on. Any shoes. What time is it? It's coming up on, yeah, I got things I got to do tomorrow. And anyway, yeah. So yeah, I'll never see hardly any of northern United States again. I don't think. I've been trying to get. I'm going to make a trip to Pennsylvania, and I want to go see Anonymous American, Daniel, God is my judge, Walter Davis, than anybody else that's up there. I want to make at least one road trip up there, but that's crazy long, and there ain't no sense in trying it right now. I mean, you have to. I've never known a lion to survive by laying down and letting the hyenas eat him. So the friend of mine that had all the boats, he doesn't have them anymore. He quit boating, so sold all the boats. I wish I'd known he was selling the pontoon boat. I would have bought that. He had a 20-foot pontoon boat. Freaking mobile fishing dock is what it was. Take that anywhere on the lake, set it up, anchor off, tie up, and then run jug lines all day long with the John boat. It was a great time in my life. That was before YouTube. Where we used to do that and stuff. Now there's so many people out there parked smoking dope and drinking beer and stuff that I don't believe I'd try it again. Yeah, people make it sound like you jump on a boat and you're there. No. They got all kinds of speed limits and stuff on boats. Anyway, I'll see you people Tuesday on the other channel. I'll link the stream to my community section. If y'all want to support me in my stupid endeavors, I've got a lot of stupid endeavors planned this year. Check the drop down. There's options. If you want to send me something, check the drop down. There's options. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. You're used to seeing me say that or hearing me say that in my videos. Apparently, if you don't say that, YouTube won't put you out there. Vanessa, some of the stuff I'm going to do, I know better than to do. I've already done it, and I know how hard it is. But it's fun. When I stop doing stupid stuff, my life's over. Then I got that scars to prove it. So, anyways, but appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Come back, see y'all here. And I think I'm gonna start doing a Friday night thing. It was fun. We'll see. Friday nights aren't a guarantee. If I'm here and I'm not got anything going on, I'll do Friday nights. But that's it. So, love all you people. Y'all stay alive. Do not die. Hey, Chipper, buy a big boat so we can go fishing when I come visit you. And make sure you got your barn set up all nice so you have a place to sleep on there. Love all y'all. Y'all be good.